21-year-old Canadian student Elisa Lam moved to Los Angeles with no intention of staying there forever. But her last day of life turned out to be a terrifying puzzle. Elisa was born April 30th, 1991, in Vancouver. She attended the University of British Columbia and blogged about her feelings and struggles with bipolar disorder, a condition her sister later said Elisa often forgot to take her medications for. On January 26, 2013, Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel, also known as Stay on Main, located in downtown Los Angeles near Skid Row. Early in her stay, she was moved from a dorm room to a private room due to strange behavior. Lam was last seen at the hotel on January 31st. Her parents, David and Yina Lam, who communicated with their daughter daily, quickly reported her missing. Lam's belongings, including her wallet, identification, and laptop, were left in her room. The Los Angeles Police Bulletin on Lam's disappearance noted that she spoke English and Cantonese, used public transportation, may have suffered from mild depression, and was ultimately headed to Santa Cruz, California. Police appealed to the public for help and released a video of Lam wearing a red hoodie in a hotel elevator. In the video, she is seen pressing numerous buttons, looking out of the elevator, walking to a corner, exiting the elevator, and waving her arms. The video went viral, sparking widespread interest and speculation about the case. One theory is that Lam was playing a Korean game called Elevator, in which pressing elevator buttons in a certain sequence supposedly opens a portal to another dimension. Lam contacted her parents in British Columbia daily during her travels until the day she disappeared. On January 31st, 2013, the day she was scheduled to check out of the Cecil Hotel for Santa Cruz, her parents had not heard from her and called the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. Her family flew to Los Angeles to help search for her. Hotel staff who saw Lam that day said she was alone. Outside the hotel, Katie Orphan, a manager at the last bookstore, was the only person who remembered seeing her that day. She was outgoing, very lively, very friendly, Orphan told CNN as she shopped for gifts for her family. She was talking about what book she was getting and whether it would be too heavy to carry on the road, Orphan added. Police searched the hotel to the extent permitted by law. They searched Lam's room and sent dogs throughout the building, including the roof, but the dogs couldn't pick up her scent. "But we didn't search every room," Sergeant Rudy Lopez later said. "We could only do that if there was probable cause to believe a crime had been committed." On February 6th, a week after Lam was last seen, the LAPD decided it needed more help. Flyers with her picture were posted around the neighborhood and online, bringing the case to the public's attention through the media. To this day, no one knows exactly how Elisa Lam died. What is known is that the 21-year-old Canadian student was last seen at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles on January 31st, 2013. But the hotel's infamous, chilling security footage of the final, bizarre moments before her disappearance, not to mention other details that have emerged since, has only raised more questions than answers. And ever since her body was discovered in the hotel's water tank on February 19th, her tragic death has remained shrouded in mystery. On February 19th, 2 weeks after authorities released the video, worker Santiago Lopez discovered Elisa Lam's body floating in one of the hotel's water tanks. Lopez made the discovery after responding to complaints from hotel guests about low water pressure and a strange taste in the tap water. The tank where Lam's body was found had to be completely drained and then cut open from the side to remove her 5-foot 4-inch body, according to the Los Angeles fire chief. No one knows how Lam's body, floating lifelessly next to the same clothes she was wearing in the surveillance footage, ended up in the hotel's water tank or who else might have been involved. Hotel staff told authorities that Lam was regularly seen alone on the property, but at least one person saw Lam shortly before her death. the owner of a nearby store with the eerily named Last Bookstore, Kathy Orphan, was one of the last people to see Elisa Lam alive. Orphan recalled the college student buying books and music for her family in Vancouver. The release of Elisa Lam's autopsy results only heightened the questions. A toxicology report confirmed that Lam had been taking a number of medications, likely intended to treat bipolar disorder. However, no traces of alcohol or illegal substances were found in her system. The investigation into Lam's death continued after her body was discovered. Access to the roof was supposed to be restricted to hotel staff. The internal staircase to the roof was locked and equipped with an alarm, which was said to be functioning and would have alerted staff if it was opened. Access to the roof was also provided by 3 fire escapes. Following further investigation, an autopsy and toxicology tests, the coroner ruled that Lam drowned due to negligence. There were no signs of physical trauma on her body and no drugs were found in her system that could have contributed to her death. The coroner's report cited Lam's bipolar disorder as a significant factor in her death. In connection with a negligence lawsuit filed by Lam's parents against the hotel, the lawsuit was dismissed in 2015. The lead investigator in the case testified, "I believe she fell after taking medication, and in her condition she accidentally ended up on the roof and fell into the water tank." Detective Wallace Tennell testified. In his testimony, the detective also noted, "My partner and I were trying to figure out how someone could have put her in there, and it was hard to do without leaving fingerprints or DNA or anything like that. So she got in there herself." The case may be closed, but the reconstruction of Lam's death reveals some confusing circumstances. For Lam to have gotten into the water tank herself, she would have had to have gotten onto the hotel roof undetected, either through a locked door with an alarm or through a fire escape on the side of the building. She would then have climbed onto the tank platform and up a 10-foot ladder on the side of the tank. She would then have had to open the heavy lid of the tank before getting in. And at some point, Lam presumably undressed. Her body was naked when she was discovered, with her clothes still in the tank. The Cecil Hotel, which had changed its name to Stay on Main before Lam arrived, has a dark history that may have contributed to speculation about his death. The hotel has been the site of numerous murders and suicides since its first days in 1927. Serial killer Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, stayed at the hotel in the 1980s. Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger stayed there in 1991. Shortly after the toxicology report was released, amateurs began poring over any information they could find in hopes of solving the mystery of Elisa Lam's death. For example, one excerpt from Lam's toxicology report was posted online by a Reddit user with an apparent interest in medicine. The analysis revealed 3 key findings. 1. Lam had taken at least 1 antidepressant that day. 2. Lam had recently taken a second antidepressant and a mood stabilizer, but not on that day. And 3. Lam had not recently taken any antipsychotics. These findings suggest that Lam, who has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression, may have been taking her medications incorrectly. This is an important finding to note, given that antidepressants used to treat bipolar disorder can lead to manic side effects if used without precautions. Some investigators naturally seized on this detail and suggested that it might be a possible explanation for Lam's strange behavior in the elevator. Statements made by hotel manager Amy Price in court strongly support this theory. According to Price, during Lam's stay at the Cecil, Lam was initially booked into a hostel-style room where she shared a room with other residents. However, complaints from her roommates about strange behavior forced Lam to move to her own room. But even if Elisa Lam had mental health issues, how did she die? And how did she end up in the hotel's water tank? An autopsy found no evidence of foul play in the evidence collected. However, the coroner's office noted that it was unable to conduct a full examination because it was unable to test the blood from Lam's decomposing body. David and Yina Lam filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Cecil Hotel a few months after their daughter's death was reported. The Lamb's attorney argued that the hotel had an obligation to investigate and identify any dangerous conditions at the hotel that posed an unreasonable risk to Lam and other guests. The hotel fought the lawsuit by filing a motion to dismiss. The hotel's attorney argued that the hotel had no reason to believe that anyone could break into one of its water tanks. Judging by the court filings by the hotel's maintenance staff, the hotel's argument is not entirely far-fetched. Santiago Lopez, who first discovered Lam's body, described in detail the effort it took to find her. Lopez said he took the elevator to the 15th floor of the hotel before climbing the stairs to the roof. He first had to disable the alarm on the roof and climb to a platform where the hotel's 4 water tanks were located. Finally, he had to climb another ladder to get to the roof of the main tank. Only then did he notice something unusual.